obviously a very disappointing outcome of the game last night, and we got a lot of areas to improve.
David Sharp back for Flemings.
Yes, David Sharp was with the Texans, and we're happy to have him back, and we'll get him up to speed as soon as possible.
Any updates on Colton or Assembly?
Both are being evaluated, and I can't give you any official update yet, but they're going to continue to be evaluated here this afternoon.
Having somebody like Sharp back who knows the system a little bit, will that help integrate him and get him up to speed faster than a brand new guy?
Yeah, I think that's key. Silberman was brought back. He was with the Tennessee Titans. He understood the system. You know, that's common around the league. Hopefully, if needed, hopefully Sharp can come in and play some quality football for us.
When you watched the film of that touchdown run, the long one, what did you see in terms of the effort?
Yeah, I didn't have any problem at all with the effort. I think what I had a big problem with was we had two guys in the same gap, and we got outflanked immediately, and their back was faster than we anticipated. But that was my big problem with the long run. Once again, defensively, I think we gave up 6 plays for 240 yards. 6 plays yielded 240 yards, and that cannot happen. And it continues to be a big part of our problem, and we have to fix it. And I know people are saying, when are you going to fix it? Well, we're trying, and hopefully we do that against the Chargers.
When you talk about fixing it, is it schematic things? Is it personnel? What can you do at this point
Well,
in the year?
sometimes we miss a tackle. You know, sometimes we miss 2 tackles. Sometimes we have a man out of his gap. You know, sometimes we got to coach perhaps better. And it all comes back to me. We just got to do a better job collectively. Sometimes guys do a little too much. They see too much. But in this league, if you make a mistake, good teams and good players will hurt you real bad, and that's been the case.
Daryl Worley and Frosty, I think, said it last night, that after the big plays that they can kind of get down on themselves or try to do too much, and that creates more problems. Are you seeing things like that maybe after?
Yeah, perhaps. You know, I can't speak for everybody, but I think, I think everybody's guilty of that at some point in time, trying to overcompensate, trying to too hard to make a big play instead of doing your job. And that's what we got to continue to emphasize, and we got to do a better job of it consistently, collectively, for a whole game.
You guys are paying Bruce Irvin $8 million, made him a team captain. Why is he not playing more? Is that something that you decided can't really help you guys out, or what's been the?
Well, last night we weren't in our nickel defense very much. Remember, we're a 4-3 team now. We're not a 3-4. So in the base defense, sometimes he doesn't fit the role that we need done. No disrespect to Bruce, but he's an edge rusher, and we haven't had a lead. We haven't had the opposition behind in the chains a lot. So his role has been reduced, and I know he's frustrated. I'm frustrated, and we'll try to solve that as soon as possible. He's a good player. He's a good player.
Tyre has been targeted, I think, almost 30 times, allowed a perfect passer rating, I think. Is that just a matter of you guys don't have anyone else, or is he someone else that?
Well, is that true?
According
is that your study
Pro Football
okay.
Focus? That's who said it.
That 30 for 30? Sounds like a television show or something.
Is that just a matter of you don't have anyone else, or are you still?
No, you know what? He's been a good linebacker. He's been a good nickel linebacker in the league for a long time. I think when you look at the kind of throws that have been complete, you got to sometimes take a look at them. Are they quick screens? Are they screen passes? I like Whitehead. I like Whitehead a lot. And if you're listening, Tyre, I think you're one heck of a linebacker. But we got to do a better job. We got to do a better job stopping the run, stopping the pass. We got to do a better job collectively, coaches and players, figuring out our defense.
We've had 2 games out of the last 3 where the line, because of injuries and other factors, hasn't been able to protect Derek at all, and basically haven't been able to throw it downfield. Are you concerned about him staying healthy behind the line with the way?
Well, last night I was concerned. You know, last night we didn't just have a couple injuries. We were decimated and had guys playing positions that they had never really practiced. And That was uncommon for any game I've ever called, and I've called a lot of games, and I've broadcast some games. I haven't seen that. So we're concerned about the health of our tackles, and to answer your question, last night I was a little bit concerned, and we did put McCarron in the game and basically run the ball. So we'll try to get better news from the doctor, and we'll try to put the best 5 out there possible because we do have some talented people.
Has Fletchy practiced at all this year at left tackle?
No, he hasn't practiced much in the last month. He hasn't put a shoulder pad on since the Cleveland game. I mean, you're talking about a guy that sacrificed a lot for this football team last night. You know, he comes back to play left guard, and you have to put him in at left tackle. That's tough. Feliciano's playing through a rib. We have issues at a lot of positions health-wise right now, and I commend those guys on a short week having to go up there and play 2 games within 5 days, and hopefully we can get some guys well.
Brandon Parker was taken out for a while. Was that due to health or was that due to performance?
We let him take a seat. We took him out of the game. He struggled a little bit early, had a penalty, had a breakdown in pass protection, and we wanted to let him take a seat for a couple series, and then we went back to him. He's another kid that is just getting started, and I really like his upside. Last night he had some ups, he had some downs, and he's got to be more consistent. He knows that.
1-7 is pretty much uncharted territory for you. How do you determine whether it's player or coach to stick with someone or move on?
Well, Jerry, you know, there's a lot of tough decisions that we have had to make in the first couple months on the job here. And one of the decisions that we have made is we are going to continue to coach hard. We're going to be enthusiastic and upbeat. We're going to develop these young guys, and we're going to call on our veteran leaders to lead. And if there's a better player out there, someone we think that can come in and help us this year and for the future, we will look hard at doing that. But making roster changes during the season, as you know, are very difficult to do. We're going to keep coaching hard and raise the standards on the practice field and hopefully get results on game day.
Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe it's just cameras have caught this past couple weeks. You and Paul Gunther exchanging some maybe not so soft words on the sideline. Is that just natural for games?
You should see us on the golf course. I mean, you know.
More to that than just frustration.
No, look, you know, you go down the field, you score a touchdown, and I don't know, the next play they get a 51-yard run. And yet, what the hell happened? You know, you're on the phone talking with somebody, and the next thing you know, it's a big play, and frustration kicks in on his behalf and my behalf. And I'm sure emotions get caught on tape sometimes, but there's not a better coach I know than Paul Gunther, and there's not a better friend that I have than Gunther. And we're going to argue and jaw probably tonight, deep into the night over a lot of things. And I'll see if we can get video footage for you.
Sticking with Johnny Townsend.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I think he's overthinking some things a little bit. You know, directional punting, putting the ball between the numbers and the sideline to the right, to the left, you know, getting it off quicker, whatever it may be. I make no excuses for Townsend, but I will say this. I have seen him bomb it. I've seen him be a difference maker, and I'm confident it's in our near future. I went through this with Leckler. Leckler used to tick me off. He used to punt the ball out of the black hole instead of trying to get it inside the 10. I've been through it with Janikowski. Everybody hated Janikowski for the first 3 or 4 games. I'm going to be patient, and everybody knows that's not a strength of mine.
Both Miller and KO, these recurring knee injuries, does your record at all play a part, maybe your plans when they come back, or thinking long-term at all?
No, we're never going to put a player at risk. We never would do that. If they can play through it, we're going to let them play. That's a big part of being a great pro football player. You know, been around guys that have Iron Man streaks. You know, watched Andrew Whitworth play for the Rams. He's still playing. You never feel good. These men never feel good from the time training camp starts till about 2 months into the off season. So if the trainer says we're putting them in any danger, they will not play. If they can play through something, we're going to try to encourage them to do that, just like we encourage everybody at every position to do it.
Expect start the practice clock on Jelly next week?
I hope so. You know, we miss him. We're going to try to rev up Eddie Vanderdoes as well. Those are two big guys that could, you know, obviously help us. We know what Ellis is and what we've been missing there. But he's still a couple weeks away, I think.
Miller does have to miss some time. Where do you go at left tackle?
Well, we're looking at a couple options right now. I don't want to make any projections right now until I know the facts, but we'll have a left tackle next week ready to play.
McDonald, when you guys brought him here, he was predominantly a 3 technique. Maybe you saw a little bit of 1. He's been working a lot for the 5 these past couple games. Why the move for him, and how do you think he's shown?
Well, we need somebody to line up on the tight end and jolt the tight end. We need somebody that can play on the edge and really, you know, be a factor. Bend the edge. Don't let the ball get to the corner. And, you know, and credit to him, he's been able to do a pretty good job of it. But to answer your question, you know, outside of Frosty Rucker, we're still looking for guys that can bend the edge and be a factor on the running game, particularly on the strong side where the tight end is.
Are the rookie defensive linemen, are they hitting a wall at all? People talk about the rookie wall. Are they wearing down at all? What are you seeing from those 3 guys?
Well, it's possible. I can't speak for them. I thought P.J. Hall had one of his better games last night. He had some good pursuit plays. I think he's starting to catch on to the position. Remember, he's a guy who played in college all over the place. He was a stand-up end. He's an outside linebacker. Heck, they used him everywhere. So he's just now healthy. Remember, he was out for a while. He's starting to do some good things. Hurst is doing a lot of good things. But I don't know that they're hitting the wall. You'd have to ask them. We need to get Arden Key in some pass rush situations, and we got to continue to get him stronger and more experienced. But I like all 3 of those guys.
Are you getting enough from your safety play in terms of angles, tackling, reads, all the?
Well, we need more. We need more coverage, in the box presence, tackling, and prohibiting and eliminating big plays. You know, we need more from that group, and I think we're going to continue to try to get the right combination of men out there and hopefully improve.
Some of your veterans talked last night about these final 8 games showing the younger players how to be professionals, how to stay true to their routines, how not to let a record affect their preparation. In these final 8 games, do you feel like that's where the foundation, the culture of the organization that you want can be established?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a big part of it. I don't want to talk about, you know, too much of that. You know, I want to win the game. We want to win the game. We want to win and win and win. That's what we're trying to do. But at the same time, as a football coach, in this first year of this program, there's a standard in how we're going to practice. There's a standard in how we're going to prepare. I think it's been really good. You know, now how we play on Sunday, how we play on Thursday night, we got to show that we can do that at a much higher level. But we have some really good veteran leadership here, and I think we have some young guys that are taking advantage of it.
2 more, guys. 2 more.
Obviously, you didn't construct your roster so that when 1-7, that example could be set. But the way that this room has so many veterans in it, do you think, and the type of veterans that you brought in, do you think they can thrive in this situation?
Yeah, I think we can thrive. I don't think. Look, 1-7 is no fun. You know, it's a combination of players that came from the draft last year and guys that came from around the league. But that's not uncommon on any football team. There's not a lot of continuity. There hasn't been a lot of continuity on this football team, and there hasn't been much continuity on the staff either. And we just got to work through it. We got to try to be true to ourselves, listen to our heart, you know. Keep getting better. Keep improving. Worry about what we can control. Don't worry about anything else.
It didn't affect the outcome of the game, but I'm dying to know, towards the end, you guys pretty much waved the white flag and you ran the ball 3 times. And then you go for it on 4th and 1. Why?
That was an inch. It was inches, Vic. You know, there's a difference between a long one and an inch. You know, I really wanted to get the inch and run the ball a few more times. And you know, we weren't in a 2-minute mode at all. I just wanted to run the ball a few times more, and unfortunately, it didn't work out.